learning new skills helps to keep your brain young. And in fact, learning any type of new skill can be beneficial because it activates the part of your brain that's geared for learning. And it does it just as much in your adult life as it did during your school days. And it doesn't really matter what you learn as long as you learn something new. And you're never too old to learn something new. Specifically, though, there are a few things which have been proven to help boost brain capacity as you get older. And the first one is learning a new language. And this form of brain training is a constant way of keeping your mind active and engaged. And it has other benefits as well. After all, if you learn to, say, speak Spanish, you might then want to go and visit Spain or Mexico or countries in South America where you can actually practice this language. So it gives you something else to look forward to, something else to think about, in addition to just simply learning the new language. And according to a study published in 2007, having the ability to speak a second language may delay the onset of Alzheimer's disease by up to 4.5 years, which is pretty good. Now, research is still being done to find out specifically why it causes such a great delay, but it's been suggested that it's a result of being able to switch between languages and being able to suppress one language while speaking another. And this is according to research done by retireathome.com. Now, something else that you can learn as you get older, and in fact, throughout your life, are computer games. Now, some people think computer games are a waste of time. It's something that teenagers do when they should be outside playing in the sunshine or studying or doing something else. But they are wrong. In a study published by the Journal of Neuroscience, college students who played Super Mario 3D World for 2 weeks improved their memory recall by about 12%, which I'm sure you'll agree is quite significant. And it doesn't just apply to young people, it can apply to older people as well. And playing video games by the elderly has been shown to ward off symptoms of dementia and to help boost memory. And again, just like learning a new language is because you had to learn the moves, you had to learn the rules, you had to learn how to do different things within the video game, and it helps your hand-eye coordination, and it does all sorts of good things. In fact, this website here, Brain Metrics, that's trix.com/memory-game, actually has some very good games on their website that you can play for free. And in particular, this memory game, which is something which you can do to help exercise your memory, do things like remember faces or things that you've heard, etc. And it has a lot of interesting information about it right here on the site. And also, they have some other brain training games that you can access on the site as well, things like 8 Queens or Arrange Games, Brain Fitness, Brain Reflection, etc. And they are very, very good, and it's well worth a visit. And it's all free online. And something else that you can learn how to do is how to cook new recipes. And learning to cook new recipes can be beneficial in several ways. First of all, you need to learn how to do it. And just like I was saying earlier on in the video, this activates the same learning mechanisms in your brain that you used to use when you were at school. But also, it introduces you to new foodstuffs, which are things that might be healthier than what you're already eating. And of course, when you learn how to cook a different recipe, often it's a good excuse for having friends and family round for dinner. And of course, social interaction helps to boost your memory. So it has a lot of beneficial things. It's win-win-win all along. And so every time you can learn a new skill, that schoolboy or schoolgirl deep inside you comes back to the fore, and you get to think yourself much younger than you did before. You need to get out more if you want to stay youthful. And lots of people, both young and old, don't do much socializing outside of their work. They come home, they eat dinner, and they spend the rest of the evening and much of the weekend in front of the TV, and they have absolutely no social interaction with anybody outside perhaps their immediate family at all. And the problem gets even worse for retired people or for entrepreneurs who work from home. Sometimes they don't see or speak to anyone, again, apart from perhaps their immediate family, for days or even weeks at a time. And this is terrible because being socially active is a great way to keep aging at bay. Meeting new people keeps your brain active. You take an interest in others, and you need to get to know them and to figure them out. And quite often, I'm sure everybody knows, when you go and you meet someone for the first time, you get to know them. You have to learn about them. You have to think about them. You have to try and figure them out, and that means that you have to work your brain. Whereas when you're around people that you know well, you know them so well you could probably finish off their sentences for them, and then your brain really isn't having to work very hard. And this exercises parts of your brain that you probably don't use very often if you spend all day staring at your TV or talking to the same people day in, day out, like I was just saying. So, attending social gatherings with family and friends, or attending sports fixtures or other events, is a great way to actually meet people, to be in different surroundings, and to interact with all sorts of other people who you perhaps don't know or don't know very well. Or perhaps you might want to take up a hobby or a sport, and that can be beneficial too. I mean, for example, take the golfers in this photograph here. You can see there's quite a broad age range, and golf is a sport that's played by both young and old. And this is very important because being around or being in tune with other younger people keeps you up to date with the latest ideas, keeps you up to date with the latest fashions, keeps you up to date with the latest trends, and also you find out what's going on in different people's lives. You find out all sorts of different things that are happening. And again, that helps to keep your brain active. And the more active your brain is, the more forward thinking you're going to be, the more youthful you're going to be, especially again if you look at the way that younger people look and the way that young people act. Some of that's going to rub off on you if you're around them long enough. And of course, other people have different life experiences, and they probably think in different ways to you. So they may provide solutions to problems that you're having in your life, problems that are causing you a lot of aging, stress and worry. And other people may also know about the latest technology, the latest music, the latest movies, etc., etc. And all of this helps you to feel younger and to look and act in a less staid manner. Travel is also important if you want to stay young. You know the old saying, travel broadens the mind. So, visiting somewhere you've never been before helps to form new memories, and of course it gives you something new to talk about to people that you know and to people that you've just encountered. And sometimes you might feel like visiting somewhere for the first time because someone that you've met has told you about it. And revisiting places from the past helps to cement older memories and to keep them fresh in your mind. And you might even bump into people you used to know and revive even more old memories. And you can catch up on what's going on in the wider world. And again, being in touch with what's going on, not being out of touch like lots of older people are who are very set in their ways, can make you look, feel and act much more youthful than you really are. Is cosmetic surgery worth it? Well, I'm going to answer that question in this video. Cosmetic surgery, aka plastic surgery, was once the preserve of the rich and famous. Nowadays, though, prices have come down and it's within reach of almost anyone. And the most popular procedures done these days, according to webmd.com, are lipoplasty, also known as liposuction, eyelid surgery, breast implants, nose jobs, facelifts, and botox injections. And the thing is, if these procedures are expensive in your own country, you can always go to another cheaper country for your surgery. And there are lots of countries around the world where a good part of their economy is actually based on foreign cosmetic surgery. Countries like Mexico and Brazil, Spain, Croatia, Turkey, India and Pakistan, South Africa. They're all countries where people can go and get cosmetic surgery done because it's cheaper than in their home countries, especially if you live in the US or the UK or Australia or countries like that where these sort of procedures can be quite expensive. And of course, you can get cheap air travel to these places. So, the fact that people can travel around more and you can book this stuff over the internet has made it much more available to a lot more people than it used to be years ago. So we come back to the original question, is cosmetic surgery worth it? Well, it depends. So let's look at the pros and cons. Let's look at the pros. Well, first of all, cosmetic surgery will improve your appearance. That's the whole point, isn't it? And when you look better, you feel better about yourself, and that gives your confidence a boost. And cosmetic surgery can make you look younger, especially if you have a procedure like a facelift or you have botox. And of course, if you look younger, if you look healthier, then you have better career prospects. You reach a certain age and employers don't really consider you anymore. You appear to be past it. But sometimes if you look younger, if you look healthier, then your career prospects are going to be better. And of course, it can make you more attractive to prospective partners as well. And of course, there are some medical advantages to having cosmetic surgery. For example, you might breathe better after a nose job. If you had difficulty breathing because of the shape of your nose, then you might be able to breathe much better once you've had that attended to. And dental implants may help you chew better. If you've had some teeth extracted in the past, you might not be able to eat as healthily as somebody who's got a full set of teeth. So if you've had dental implants, then that can help. You might have a better diet, and that can improve your general health and your general appearance as well. And of course, there's reconstruction following an accident. So if you've been in a car crash or some other work-related accident that's left you disfigured, perhaps you were burned or scalded or had cuts and bruises and all sorts of other things have gone wrong, broken bones perhaps, broken nose, you can have that reconstruction done, and it can not only make you look better, but it can also make you function better as a human being. But of course, there are always a downside, so let's look at the cons. And the biggest downside is the cost. And unless it is for medical reasons, then most insurance won't cover it. Most health services in countries around the world where they have the government pays your health costs, they probably won't pay for it either because it's considered to be not something that is particularly necessary. So you will have to meet the full cost of it out of your own pocket. And even if you do go to a country where it's cheaper than your home country, you still have to pay for it. So there is always a cost involved, and it can be quite substantial. Then there's the risk of anything going wrong during the surgery. I mean, cosmetic surgery is no different from any other type of surgery in that respect, that something might go wrong while you're having the operation done, and that might need to be corrected, and there is a risk, a risk to life in some cases. And there also, in some countries, if you go overseas for your treatment, their standards of hygiene might be somewhat lower than in your own home country. And of course, there can be post-operative complications. Again, just like with any other type of surgery, something could go wrong afterwards. There could be some other type of complication that has to be taken into consideration. So there is always a big risk with cosmetic surgery, just like there is with any other type of surgery. And of course, it can be disappointing. You might have some idea in your mind as to how you're going to look after the surgery, but it doesn't come out the way that you thought, and it can be disappointing. You might think that actually you look worse after having cosmetic surgery, especially if something goes wrong during the surgery and it doesn't come out as well as you might like. So it can be disappointing. And of course, it can leave you open to ridicule. People who didn't know you before the surgery, well, they won't know any different. But people who did know you, well, they might think you're being vain or frivolous. So you do have to take that into consideration as well. The thing is, though, you don't have to go under the knife to improve your appearance. And there are some things that you can do to make yourself look younger without having to resort to cosmetic surgery. And the first thing, and probably the easiest thing that you can do, is to change the way you dress. So update your wardrobe to something more contemporary, but choose clothing that someone 10 years younger than you would wear. And that might mean, if you're a guy, it might mean wearing a different tie width than you might usually wear. Or if you're a girl, it might mean wearing a different skirt length than you might usually wear. But something that someone who's, say, 10 years younger than you is going to wear is going to, by default, make people think that you're a bit younger too. Then you can update your hairstyle. And your hair grows and it needs cutting every so often, even if you wear it long. So if you've had the same hairdo for more than 5 years, then ask your stylist for something more contemporary and just update it so that you appear to be more in tune with current trends. And if your hair is going grey, well, dye it. And that applies to guys as much as it does to girls. Grey hair might suit George Clooney, but that doesn't go for everybody. So if your hair's going grey, then you should dye it back to the colour that it was before, or maybe even choose something completely different. But if you do decide to dye your hair, then be sure to choose a product that only covers the grey and doesn't strip out all of the natural oils. If you wear glasses, then you should get more fashionable frames. You should always have your eyes checked every few years anyway. And when you do, and you choose another pair of glasses, choose something that's a bit more updated. Don't ask your optometrist to simply put your new lenses in your old frames. Have something new, have something that's a bit more up to date. And if you're a woman who wears makeup, then update your look to the latest techniques. Have a chat with the lady on the makeup counter at the store where you buy your cosmetics and ask her about the latest techniques. And a lot of cosmetic houses do actually run classes which show you how to apply their makeup in the latest way. And quite often they're free because they're designed to try and sell you more cosmetics. But at least you'll know exactly how things are done these days and you'll keep up to date with the latest techniques. And something else you should do, be you male or female, is to moisturize. Make sure you get lots of moisturizer onto your skin, because a healthy looking skin can take years off of you. And you should also moisturize your hands as well as your face. So many times people will look young in the face, but when you look at their hands, it's always a dead giveaway. So moisturize your hands as well as your face. Now, browsing fashion magazines is a great way to keep on top of what's hot right now. So be sure to stop by your local newsstand or your local newsagent regularly and catch up on the latest ideas. So, is cosmetic surgery worth it? Well, that depends. Depends how you feel about it, and also depends on whether or not you've tried some of the other techniques we've talked about in this video.